We have a real interesting gentleman today that we're going to be talking to. His name is E.A. Channon, and he's got a book, Ballad of a Bagpiper, that he's had out for a while now. There's the author part. And we're going to talk with E.A. and discuss some of his other talents. And I think you're going to enjoy this. Hello and welcome, E.A. Thanks for sitting with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, you've got Ballad of a Bagpiper here. You've had this book out for some time now. Give us a little bit of a backstory on this book for us, if you would.
Well, it's about my 38 years of playing the bagpipes around the world. It's not exactly a autobiography, like I woke up, Mum spanked me on the bottom, changed my nappies, things like that. It was about the segments of my life of playing the bagpipes. And I decided about 5-6 years ago, after a friend of mine told me that, you know what, you tell these wonderful stories about things that happened when you play the bagpipes, why don't you put them in a book? And so it's small segments of things that happened to me. And after writing all these things down, because my father always taught me to write notes down, so every time I would do a wedding or a funeral or anything, make a wee note about it and say what happened, you know, anything you might have learned. So I wrote that down, and luckily it was literally like having an instant cash cow sitting there. It's like, oh great, and I just threw it all into the book. So it was a quite easy thing to put together. And I discovered actually after putting most of the stories together, 99% of the stories were actually quite funny. So it ended up being literally a book about comical stories.
So obviously you're a bagpiper. Why don't you relate some of the more fascinating or fun bits over the years from the book that people might be interested to hear about?
Well, I probably would say that one of the funnier things that happened to me was actually playing for a vampire wedding. So when they asked me to play the pipes, I thought, yeah, sure, okay, no problem. But they didn't tell me until 3-4 times after getting together with them that it was going to be a vampire wedding. So I'm thinking, oh gosh, okay. And then when I finally met the bride, then I knew exactly it was going to be a really kind of gothic type thing, because she was all gothicked out. Of course, I thought that was quite fascinating. And just one thing led to another, and then when it got to the actual wedding, I'm the only one that actually had any colour. My kilt was the only thing that had colour. Everybody else was all black.
But that was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it was okay.
Can you talk to us a little bit, EA, about now being an actor for us?
The acting part actually came about through a friend of mine who was a music producer in Bend, Oregon, actually. And he and I just happened to meet just by total circumstances. I was asked to play for a cancer walk, one of those things that goes around a school track, and he was providing the music for it. And he was at that time working on putting a movie together, and he asked me if I wanted to play the pipes, because in a particular scene in the film, they were thinking of having something really dramatic, kind of bring it all together. And of course the bagpipes brings a lot of things together. Turns out that it was a Western. And I thought, if I'm going to be in a film, I never in my life thought I was going to be in a Western. My family around the world were thinking probably the same thing. He's in a Western? But true, I was going to be wearing the cowboy hat and dirt and all this stuff. I know how to ride horses, but I had to learn how to kind of re-ride a horse. And so it turns out that I ended up being the jack of all trades of this fictional town that's in eastern Oregon that takes place at the end of the 1800s.
Is that film out now, EA, and available for people to see?
Not yet. It's still in the process of being cut up and worked on, and whatever they do in the Hollywood backdoor area of Hollywood. I just kind of go, okay, I've done my acting bit.
Yeah. Have you a title? Do you even know that yet for this picture?
It's called Coyote Creek.
You've also piped for some important people over the years, have you not?
I have, yeah. At 10 years old, I played for Queen Elizabeth, because my cousin at the time was her Secretary of Transportation, or technically Margaret Thatcher, who was the Prime Minister. And I just happened to be fishing out in the countryside of Scotland. She happened to be holidaying at her castle. Wow. It must be nice to take a holiday in a castle. And she, I guess, I don't know exactly what happened, because I was only 10 years old at the time. but next thing I knew, I was playing for. Some of the other people I play for are politicians and actors and all sorts of people around the world. It's just, I just happen to know people, or somebody just happened to recommend me, but I never went out and pushed myself to do it. I played for a wrestler. I can't remember when, but your audience might know Roddy Piper.
Oh yes, I remember.
And he actually plays the bagpipes, which I didn't know at the time.
I didn't know that either.
It's amazing. You see this huge wrestler, and he plays the
That's an
bagpipes.
image.
Yeah.
Another thing that you've got in your cache of many talents and in your resume is you have a history of having Scottish hiking and walking tours that you give. I know you've got a history background and things of that nature. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that works and what you got in store for that?
Well, starting next year, I'm going to be doing week-long tours going through the Scottish Highlands, and people can get information on the website and find out more on how it's going about. But I'll be taking 8 up to 15 people at a time, myself and some other people, and we just go through the Highlands on trails, and along the way I'll be giving history information about where we are, the particular clans, but about the plants, the animals and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you're enjoying the outside, you're having a great time just seeing the history of the Scottish Highlands and everything around you, because you never know what you'll see around the corner.
You've got another project coming up in December, another book? Is that right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's called Flash of the Blood.
Flash of the Blood.
And you can get that you can find it out on the website, but it's basically, kind of think of it as a group of people who get into a circumstance that they don't want to be, and it has everything you would hope for in a fantasy novel.
That's really cool. And speaking of, EA mentioned the website, which is Edward and Channon. EAChannon.com.
Yep.
That's right, and you'll want to go there and you can get details on the books. And you might have taken notice of this great shirt that EA was wearing. There's information on there if you want to get one of these. They're pretty cool. Keep calm and wear a kilt. Words to live by. Well, EA, thank you very much for sitting and chatting with us. Fascinating resume you have there. And we look forward to the book in December, and keep in touch, okay?
Definitely.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks very much, folks, and we'll catch you next time.